Hello, everybody. The Worm here is back again for some more 999, and we went through quite a quite an escape area just now. We have teamed up with we, as in Junpei, have teamed up with Clover and Lotus, and we've decided to go into door 8. And within that door, we seemed to have. What would it be? I guess it was a trap of sorts. Where Clover, because she was feeling. She was feeling bad about her brother and didn't want to be with anyone, caused the a door to shut. And fortunately, there didn't seem to be any imminent danger other than the fact that, of course, the clock's always ticking and we have to figure out what's going on. But we were able to solve it. Kind of set the place on fire a bit, but that's neither here nor there. We made it. All three of us made it, and that's what's important. So, last time I was pondering a bit about things like editing or leaving out pauses, and a kind individual pointed out to me that different recording softwares have various functions, and including a pause function usually. And so I studied it a bit. And by study, I mean, I opened the program and just looked around a bit more and tested it, and it turns out that yes, OBS does in fact have a pause function. So, in the future, I shall endeavor to use that function when there are moments I have to step away for a minute or two. So, apologies for that unnecessary what would it be? Interruption, I suppose. Yeah, I've just been doing pretty much the bare minimum, so I haven't really investigated the software I've been using that much, but that's good to know. So thanks again to that person for letting me know. I really appreciate it. We just left the 8 room. Presumably, we will now be wandering somewhere in a new area of the ship, and hopefully we'll be able to run into our Door 7 group, which was June, Seven, and Santa. And again, we left Ace behind, and Snake is unaccounted for. So let's continue. Let's see who we can find and what we will find.
Whew, thank God we got out of there.
Looks like I am recording. Yep, okay.
Yeah, finally.
Oh, yeah.
All three collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily. Junpei's heart was pounding in his chest, and his whole body felt weak. He inhaled gulps of clean air, and with each one, he could feel his body begin to calm down.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
They nodded to each other and started off down the hallway. Let's see. Before long, they found a few new doors, but all of them were locked. If I look at the map now... No, this is still just B deck. I forget, did we go down? We did go down, right? So we should be on C deck, I think. And we don't have a map for C deck yet.
Damn, none of these open. They're all locked.
How about that one?
The final door sat in a corner of the hallway.
Let's hope this is the door with the prize.
Junpei grabbed the door handle and was about to pull it open when a voice cried out from behind him. It was neither Clover nor Lotus, but he recognized it. There was no doubt the voice belonged to...
Jumpy!
June.
Huh?
He spun around. There, at the other end of the hallway, Junpei saw human figures running toward him. 3 of them. Oh, they all made it.
June?
Thank goodness.
Santa! 7!
They stopped short in front of Junpei and his companions, gasping for air.
Hey, what are you guys doing here?
What do you mean? We made it through the door. Where else would we go?
What? But we didn't...
Before he could finish, Clover spoke.
Hey guys, could you come take a look at this?
She was standing near the end of a small hallway that branched off to the right. The rest of them ran over to her, curious as to what she'd found.
Hey, on the wall.
Another
a
map.
of the ship's interior?
It says C deck.
Hey, just what I was looking for.
So it's the map for this floor then?
Door 7. And... Door 8. Yep, they both eventually end up at this hallway.
Here they are. Oh, so here's the room. Yes, I see now. And I guess we went this way or something? In fact...
Yeah, isn't that what I said? We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again.
It's good to know. So what was door 7 like? Are you going to tell me? I mean, I feel like if this were, in real life, they would totally ask, just out of curiosity, what was your room like? But considering this is a game where we have the choices for going into different rooms, they're probably not going to tell me because they wouldn't want to spoil the surprise of, experiencing it for the first time yourself.
Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the nonary game works.
You seem very knowledgeable about that, but I mean, it's just we've been at this for an appropriate amount of time to just get it, so I'm not suspecting 7 or anything. It is still weird how he was amnesiac. Junpei looked at the map of the ship's interior again.
Wait a sec. This leads to...
Is that... Wait, door 3? As he looked more closely, his surprise and excitement gave way to wariness.
Oh,
This should be door 3, actually. I didn't notice that at first.
You've got to be kidding me.
One by one, the others saw what he'd seen.
We may as well go.
yeah.
As one, they moved back toward the door Junpei only a moment ago had been ready to open.
Oh, almost forgot. We should keep this.
He pulled the map of the ship's interior off the wall and put it in his pocket and followed the others. Now... Oh, there it is. So, looks like door 7's an operating room. Shower room we haven't seen yet. There's the central staircase. Storage, we've definitely not been there yet. So this is this door 3? Is that what we're going with this? It's either you can't really see it very well. There's this door here, right here. Does my mouse cursor show up? If someone could let me know if my mouse cursor actually shows up, I would appreciate that. I don't know if it does or not. I would assume it does. So right here, there was a door, so I'm guessing that's door 3. So door 3 kind of just... Well, I guess it would be the shower room for their puzzle. Are we going back to the hospital room, or are we going this way? That's what I'm... Well, we'll just find out in a second, won't we? The 6 of them stood in front of the door, arrayed in a semicircle. Santa... Well, yeah, this... Because here's the bend in the hallway, so this is door 3, right? Santa stepped forward, he took hold of the door and spoke without looking back at the other 5.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
They nodded, their silent assent. With a deep breath, Santa threw open the door. poured through the doorway and into the room. Even without looking around, each of them knew where they were.
I knew it.
They were just where the map had said they would be.
We're back.
Hey.
In the hospital room.
Let's hope the door doesn't automatically close behind us. Where's
I
Ace?
see. I believe I understand what you're saying.
Oh, hey, Ace.
The 6 of you split into 2 teams and went through doors 7 and 8. You solved the puzzles in the operating room and the laboratory, and then met one another in the hallway after opening your respective locked doors.
So we did. He looked like anyone might, after only just waking up, but it seemed that his brain was working as well as ever. He had managed to grasp, summarize, and understand each team's report.
At any rate, I feel a bit silly for my little show of altruism.
That's alright. I feel like that sacrifice, because that's essentially what it was pretty important for morale. Certainly my morale. Because if we had gone with what Lotus wanted to do and, like, voted someone off, that would have been a lot. I think that would have crushed, certainly June. It would have hurt Junpei. I'm sure Seven will feel bad about it. I think the only 2 people who would have been happy about it would be Lotus and Clover. No, not Clover, excuse me. Lotus and Santa. Everyone else would have been put off pretty bad. Not to mention the person who got left behind would have a real chip on their shoulder going forward. Like, imagine if we had voted someone off, done 7 and 8, and then walked back into the room. It's like, oh, hey, bud. Sorry for, voting to sacrifice you when that was entirely unnecessary. Well, not unnecessary, but it didn't lead to what we thought it would.
I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head with a rueful smile. So I'm assuming door 3 is just open now, so I guess we can all just go forward, right?
Well, we saw each other again and we ain't dead, so I say that's good enough.
You know, Seven, in this sort of situation, I would definitely say that's good enough. Now, if only we could find where Snake went.
Anyway, I said we get out of this creepy old place. We found the key we need.
We did? Or you did? In 7?
The key?
Ain't that what I just said? I'm talking about the Jupiter key. We found it in the operating room.
Oh, we found a key too. Hang on, I wrote it down. Which one was it? We found the Earth key. Let me write down that there is a Jupiter key now. Okay. We have an Earth key and a Jupiter key.
Here.
Seven tossed something small and metallic toward Junpei.
Whoa.
Nice catch.
Jeez.
He caught it and found that the object was a key.
I see. So this is Jupiter.
On it, someone had engraved a symbol very similar to a 4. Oh, I see. He looked over at June, who nodded back. It had to be the Jupiter symbol.
I'm gonna let you hold on to that, alright?
Well, thank you for trusting me. That's nice.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei tucked the new key into his pocket.
So how many unused keys do we have now?
There's the Earth key we found in the laboratory. The Saturn key card we found in the kitchen.
Yes, I was wondering about that. I actually don't think I wrote that down at the time. No, I didn't. But let's put... So I have Earth key, Jupiter key, Saturn key card. Okay.
And the Jupiter key you just gave me.
Oh, another thing. At one point in the game, what am I saying? Last episode, I was wondering, I think we got confirmation that you need to walk through the door in order for the countdown to activate. And we may have known that all along, I wasn't able to catch it. But last episode, when we went through 7 and 8, I was able to catch it. That it does look like you need to pass through the door for the countdown to start. And I also I was wondering why I was wondering that in the first place, and I was able to remember it the other day. It was because I was wondering about the ninth guy, the ninth man, and how come he exploded and Clover and Ace didn't. And so that was why I was looking for confirmation. So it makes sense. That tracks. So that's all good. June spoke up. Excuse me.
The Jupiter key is supposed to be for the door at the end of that long, straight hallway, right?
Which hallway?
Yeah. If the map's right, then it connects to the central staircase. Then, next to the stairs,
Wait!
They were the first words anyone had heard out of Clover in quite some time. Her face suggested they weren't going to be very happy words.
What about door 3?
look, you saw the map, right? It's the same as 7 and 8. Just lead us back to the big hospital room. There's no point to seeing what's on the other side of that door.
There is a point. At least there is for me.
Didn't we just come through 3? Oh no! There's a door between 3, 7, and 8. I forgot about that. Okay, so this is the unmarked door between 3 and 7. I had forgotten about that. Okay. Got it. I was confused. Okay, yeah. Understood. I was confused by what she was talking about, but now I get it. She looked very much like a frightened puppy. There wasn't a man alive who could have resisted those eyes. 7 looked everywhere in the room except at Clover, and muttered and coughed apologies under his breath.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. The snake might be on the other side of door 3.
Let me, see real quick. So presumably 3 leads to the shower room then, yes. That's what I had thought, but I got confused between 3 and the unmarked door. So, I mean, we could go through 3, because we know that leads out back to the hallway in the unmarked. But it would... The issue is on time. We don't know how long it's going to take to do all that. Clover nodded once. The next person to speak up was Ace.
Very well. I'll be coming with you then.
Oh, Ace has decided to do it.
I've had a nice long rest. I think it's time I was up and about again. So 7, you'll help me, won't you?
So we have 417. That'll work.
Huh? Me?
Junpei did the calculations quickly in his head. 4 plus 1 plus 7 equals 12. Plus 2 equals 3. Looked like 7 was doing them too. At last, he gave up.
Damn. Well, I guess that's how it's gotta be.
I appreciate the fact that they're doing this. Well, it's not just purely for her benefit. We don't know. There could be another key in there. So you could say there is a practical reason for going through 3. It could be to find another key or key card that we might need going forward. So going through the door has multiple reasons. 1, to look for Snake. 2, to get some sort of key or something.
So I'm going with you, huh?
Yes, you are.
All right, let's get moving.
And so it was decided that Clover, Ace, and 7 would discover what lay beyond door 3. Good luck, guys.
Okay, we're heading out.
I like how it seems like we're getting a bit more confident. So far, we've yet to have any issues doing the whole red and dead thing. So, hopefully that continues. But yeah, we've been knocking these out pretty good.
Be careful.
Whoa. Didn't think I'd be hearing that from you, Lotus.
Don't let it go to your head. I'd be in trouble if the 3 of you bought it.
Yeah.
The rest of us can't open the 9 door.
Ah, the truth comes out.
7 nodded, as if this answer made much more sense, and pulled the lever on the red.
Okay, we're off.
The door opened, and Ace, Clover, and 7 jumped through it. 6, 7, 8. After exactly 9 seconds, the door closed noisily.
All right, we should get moving too.
Huh?
Where to exactly? Oh, back to the central staircase.
Get moving.
Where are we going?
We probably should have discussed this with them before they left. You know, we don't want them to walk back out and then be confused that we're gone. Although they could probably intuit where we went. Everyone except Lotus seemed rather confused.
Well, it would be a waste of time to just sit around, wouldn't it?
Fair enough.
Let me explain.
Oh, I get it. We're gonna see if we can get anywhere interesting with the Jupiter key.
Yes. If we're lucky, we might find Snake.
Yeah, that would be lucky. They were at the end of the hallway, lined by individual hospital rooms.
And here's the Jupiter symbol on the keyhole.
So this is... This is still Deck C. So this is this long hallway. All the way to here.
All right, Junpei, open it if you please.
Yeah, on it.
Junpei pulled the Jupiter key out of his pocket and slid it into the keyhole. He twisted. With a nice sharp click, he felt the door unlock. Junpei sucked in a breath, held it, and opened the door as quietly as he could. Hey, we're back. Inside was exactly what he expected to see from the map of the ship's interior. They were in a tremendous hall, almost like a ballroom, with a massive central staircase.
Great, back to the beginning. You sure this is a good idea?
Yeah, we also have the Earth key and the, what was it, Saturn key card? Yeah, so we got places to explore.
What do you mean?
Well, we already searched every inch of this room, didn't we? I'm asking you if there's any reason we came back here.
Santa, do you have a memory that lasts beyond minutes? Don't you remember? Yeah.
Of course there's a reason. And sometimes I can't tell if you're smart or just lucky.
Huh?
This.
Junpei pulled 2 things out of his pockets.
The Saturn key card.
Santa, this was less than 5 minutes ago. Come on.
And the Earth key?
Did you pay attention at all?
I'm lost.
Oh, come on. Santa cocked his head to one side like an inquisitive bird and looked at them. After several long moments during which it became apparent that Santa had no idea what the cards meant, June took pity on him.
Don't you remember, Santa? On C deck, where we are now, there was a big elevator behind the stairs, remember? And next to the elevator, there was a card reader with the Saturn symbol on it. And on A deck, on the door to the left, there was a keyhole with the Earth symbol on it, I think. So the 2 keys that Jumpy has?
Should let us use the elevator and the door on A deck. Huh.
So which are we gonna do first? Are they gonna make me choose? That's the question.
Yes, that's right.
June smiled, pleased with herself. So did Santa.
All right, I got it. Let's get started then.
That was weird. You should not be that forgetful, Santa.
What do you say we split into 2 teams?
Again with the splitting stuff. I guess.
Lotus and I will search the Earth one, so you 2 can search Saturn, all right?
Sounds good. Then you guys should take this key.
Junpei handed the Earth key to Santa. They decided that their initial search should be brief.
We have no idea what's on the other side of these.
Yeah, if there's anything crazy, just start screaming. Let us know, quickly.
So don't go too far. Just search for 10 minutes and come back.
10 minutes, okay. Plan decided, the two teams split it up. Split it up. Not just split up? I guess that makes sense. Junpei and June headed for the elevator.
There's a card reader next to the left elevator.
Then let's try out the Saturn key card.
Hey! A light on the upper left corner blinked to life.
Great! It looks like it's working now.
All right. Now, how do I call the elevator?
Is there a button? Yes, there is a single button to the right of the elevator door.
Oh, it only has the upside down triangle on it.
It only goes down.
I guess there's no up button. Well, we may as well try pushing this one.
And this one's on A deck, right? The door slid shut, and they heard the grinding of the motor as the elevator car moved down. Oh, look there.
It opened. Look, Jumpy.
Look to the right. It says A deck, B deck, C deck, D deck, E deck. Now, D deck and E deck should both be submerged, right? But it's interesting that there are options there. June's voice was excited, but Junpei could hear a tinge of anxiety.
Sweet! It opened! Let's get going.
I am a bit worried if this is like a point of no return thing, because this isn't like just a door that you can open and close, go in and out at will. I think we should be a bit careful with this. As he was about to set... Oh, excuse me. He grinned at June and stepped toward the door, the open door. As he was about to set foot in it, he felt a hand on his arm.
Wait.
What?
I'm not really, I just, oh gosh.
What's wrong? Junpei was at something of a loss. What could she possibly be so frightened of? June was probably afraid of... Well, that one is kind of funny. I think that she could be thinking this. She was afraid because the only elevator button pointed down. That meant, of course, that the elevator couldn't go any higher than the floor they were on. As he thought about it, Junpei realized he hadn't seen elevators on the A deck or A or B decks near the central staircase. Oh wait, so we're on the C deck. Okay. All of which meant that the elevator could only convey them to the lower decks.
Come to think of it, the lower floor, D deck is completely underwater.
Yes, it would be bad if the elevator opened up and then we just immediately drowned.
An elevator heading to a submerged floor. That is pretty scary. Hey, wait a minute. This elevator came up from somewhere under us, right?
Well, yes, I guess it did. It didn't open right away after you pressed the button.
So you're saying if it was submerged, it would be filled with water?
There was a motor noise like it was moving, and then it opened.
But the elevator could have just been closed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, take a look inside.
Junpei jerked his head toward the interior of the elevator.
It's not wet at all, is it? The walls and even the floor are totally dry.
I'm not sure this tracks, Junpei. I mean, elevator doors aren't they usually just closed? Even if it's on a certain floor? It could have just been closed. I'm not sure this works.
Oh, you're right. They are.
Or, but do you mean the outside of it is not wet? Because that would, I think, be indicative of something like that. She looked around the elevator slightly embarrassed.
Well, let's test it.
Test it.
Yeah, watch this. Now, I'll just put one foot inside the elevator and look over at the buttons. Oh, there's only two, E and C.
Oh, so it only goes directly to C or E.
All right, I'll push E.
He pushed the E button and jumped out of the elevator. The door slid shut and they heard the grinding of the motor as he... Okay, this is smart. Yeah, so it'll go down and open. Yeah.
think I can hear it opening on E deck.
Okay, that's done. Now I'll just press the button again.
A few moments later, the elevator returned. Yeah, that was smart. That was good.
Yep,
Yeah.
not a single drop of water to be seen. See?
Junpei couldn't resist puffing out his chest just a little bit. June, however, still looked confused.
What does that mean?
I guess it means that whoever's in charge of this whole thing, Zero, is able to direct where the water's going. Like maybe there are bulkheads or something, and they're somehow able to manage precisely where the water goes, and so E deck is currently not flooded because of that.
How can E deck be safe if the D deck is full of water?
Well, here's what I think. The elevator shaft and E deck must be watertight and separated from wherever the ship's been punctured. Here, let me show you.
Pulled out a notebook and pen and sketched out a rough illustration. I had completely forgotten he had a notebook and pen.
I see. So is that why the ship hasn't sunk? The shape of the inside keeps it all from filling with water?
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
Junpei continued talking as he closed the notebook and slipped it back into his pocket.
So I'm gonna go down and check it out. You stay here, all right?
Let me... Elevator... Okay.
But
Come on, just do it, all right?
Gave June's shoulder a reassuring squeeze, then hopped into the elevator. Let's hope there's nothing horrifying down here. He pushed the E button and the door began to close. June looked worried, her eyes darting back and forth as if she was trying to make a decision, when suddenly...
I'm coming with you.
What?
Huh?
The last possible moment, June dashed forward, turning sideways just in time to slip through the gap between the closing doors.
Hey, wait!
Junpei jammed his finger against the open button, but it was too late.
Oh, crap. It closed.
Yeah, June didn't like being separated during the whole 7 and 8 doors, so I can imagine she doesn't want to get separated again. The door had shut, he and June were in the elevator, and it was headed down, to E deck. He was so surprised by June that he didn't even have time to think about what had awaited him on the E deck.
I can't just let you go alone, you know.
Ah, jeez.
Let's hope there's light. The elevator stopped, and this door slid open. And there's light. They tentatively stepped out and looked around.
It looks normal.
No fish going about their fishy business, or jellyfish floating lazily through the water. There was, however, a blowfish. What? Or at least something that looked very much like one. June's cheeks were puffed out, and her mouth a tiny, intense frown.
I'll knock it off. It's just like I thought. This part hasn't flooded.
Oop.
Come on, just look around. There's no water here.
June looked around nervously, then exhaled.
You're right. It's not flooded at all.
See?
But there's a whole lot of water.
Yeah, right on top of us.
What's gonna happen if the ceiling breaks?
Let's not think about that right now. Junpei thought about that for a moment.
We'd probably die.
Oh no. Don't be so casual about something like that.
Well, it's the facts.
At any rate, We should probably go back as soon as we can, once we're done looking around down here. Lotus and Santa might already be back.
Okay, good idea.
Now then.
Junpei glanced around the room they'd found themselves in. There's the other elevator. First thing he noticed was a thick set of bars. They ran the length of the room, separating the left elevator from the right
Iron
one.
bars. Well, we can't go over there.
Right.
Then maybe.
In the corner of the room that housed the elevators, Junpei found an opening.
Well,
He walked up to it and stuck his head around the corner.
it looks like there's a long
Uh-oh.
straight hallway down this way.
6, huh?
Something's written on the door at the end. Wait, is that...
Let's check.
Junpei and June set off down the hallway at a brisk clip, somewhere between a run and a jog. Before long, they found themselves in front of the door. On it was a number written in bright red paint.
I knew it!
This is a numbered door.
And indeed, there was a red bolted to the wall right next to the door.
But we can't do anything with only the two of us.
Nope.
We better head back and let everyone know.
Yes.
Junpei and June turned and headed back to the sea deck.
Wait, what's this?
On their way back, Junpei noticed a map on the wall. Ooh, do we get deck E as well?
Is this the map for E-Deck? I should take it with me.
Nice.
Huh, so you guys found door 1.
Oh my goodness. A chapel? Oh, that's foreboding. And door 1, huh? They'd met back up with Santa and Lotus, who had explained what they'd found. Apparently, there was another numbered door on A deck, just like the one on E deck, beyond the door that the Earth key opened. Wow, so this next set of numbered doors are far separated from each other, huh? According to Santa and Lotus, there was a 1 on the door.
So now we've located 2 new doors. The 6 door and the 1 door.
Have we had... What are all the doors we've had so far? We have 1... We've had 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Are we down to just 2 and 9 that we haven't seen yet? That's pretty crazy.
You know, it is interesting that E-Deck wasn't flooded.
Lotus was quiet for a moment, lost in thought.
Well, we don't really know if all of E-Deck is safe.
That's a good caveat.
We only checked the area around the elevator.
Yeah, even so, it's still very interesting.
You said the 6th door was there, right?
Yes.
Then that means Zero planned all this out, even the sinking. That would have meant some pretty serious remodeling of the ship's interior.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took. I can't even imagine how much it must have cost.
It would have been a ton, that's for sure.
Well, that does go along with what Ace was saying. The most reasonable explanation would be that this was done by some organization with access to a whole lot of cash.
Yes, it does make sense.
That thought made them all go quiet for a moment. I hope Ace's group is doing alright right now. June bit her lip while Lotus sighed softly to herself, and Santa cracked his stiff neck and stared off into the distance at nothing.
Yeah?
I don't think it's a very good idea to stay here.
What do you mean? June looked up at Junpei with large, pleading eyes.
Yeah, you're right. Ace and his team might be back already.
Well, Junpei and I should be able to open door 1.
Huh? You guys leaving me behind?
Just kidding. All right, let's go.
Lotus's words were all the impetus they needed. Back to the large hospital room they went. Hello, everybody. The moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
Yeah, I thought we probably should have told them before we left. It was 7.
7?
Oh,
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. 7 had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale. And Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. Oh no. For a long moment they simply stood there looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at 7.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
I think it's a reasonable question, 7, but... 7 was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him, hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake was...
Oh no.
Snake is...
7 couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead.
Well... This was definitely a possibility, but it was definitely the most terrible one.
He died, just as the 9th man did.
By an explosive? It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room. Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beating on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. And all 3 were frozen in place, their faces white.
oh my god. That's not true, is it?
We should make sure.
Yeah, right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
Wait! Not that way.
What? Why not?
They stopped short and turned to look at 7. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. The left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
Well, that means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed down for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as 7 had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Ugh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour, it smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. My goodness. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat, to pound against the entrance of his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
Oh. He didn't have to wonder where the body was. Look here. Is this... Do you see this? LLR? Left, left, right? No, that's probably not right.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked into the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton. And time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it.
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the Ninth Man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd and natural way, and his left arm had been split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like a raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat. Oh, man. Man. Okay. Let's think about this. We gotta think about this. So, someone found the electronic parts for the doors for 3, 7, and 8. I don't know if it was Snake. But it had to be... Look, okay, I'm trying to reason this out from the facts of how the doors work. And I don't know if I'm getting all this correct. But considering how he died and where he died, doesn't that mean there has to be two people who know or knew? Because here's the scenario that's forming in my head. Either Snake found it, or someone else found it, but they got Snake with them. 2 people. 2 people with Snake came to this room. But they didn't inform anyone else for whatever reason. That makes me think it's not Snake. But why target Snake? I don't know. But anyway, Snake and 2 other people come here. They replace the electronics. Then, for whatever reason that I have no idea why, the 3 of them decide to go through door 3. And yet, here's the next question. Did they intentionally open door 3 and force Snake through? Or did something else happen that made it so only Snake went through and the other 2 didn't? And if that's, regardless of the why, if it had ended up with just Snake ending up in 3 and the other 2 not, would that not seal his fate? Because don't you need all 3 of the numbers to deactivate the dead? So if he was forced in there or tricked in there, or if something crazy happened that made it so he was the only one who went through the door, and then the door closed after 9 seconds, then that sealed his fate, right? Because the door would have just... because he wouldn't have been able to deactivate the dead. And it looked like he wrote LLR on the wall? Now, I don't know if that's true. That's just a scenario that's popping in my head, but let's think about this. So, if my assumption is right, and because it has to be 3 people, at least, right? Who could it have been? So let's try, it always has to be him. 2, Ace, and Lotus? No. Ace and 7? Nope. 2, Ace, and... It obviously wasn't us. Oops. That wouldn't work. Nope. Wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Yeah. We're looking for 3. Okay, so here's a potential. Santa and 7. That's a potential here. Obviously that wouldn't work. Clover and Junpei are definitely not the culprits, so that wouldn't work. Yeah. Oh wait, no, we already did that. Okay, so I think the only combination that works is Snake, Santa, 7. That's if I'm getting this correct. Because I'm trying to think about this I'm trying to reason about this from the way the rules work. We know that you need 3 people to open the door. We know that after 81 seconds and you don't deactivate the dead, you explode. He exploded. So, doesn't that mean that 3 people had to have at least hit the red? And so, at least that's my theory going forward right now. Of course, this doesn't explain, it doesn't give us motive or anything like that. Because, as I've said, it could have been, it didn't necessarily have to be murder. It could be something else, something unexpected. Just something that prevented the two of them from entering the room for 9 seconds, and then it was sealed. And of course, Santa and Seven, knowing exactly what happened, wouldn't want to tell everyone. Now, what does LLR stand for? LLR. That was 2 L's, right? LLR? Let me write that down. Because they were definitely, it was L dot L dot R dot. I'm going to have that. Yeah. LLR. Snake's final message? Question mark? Yeah. So, and again, we don't know who found the, we don't know who found the electronic pieces, or... Seven is a bit suspicious just because of his amnesia. It's so strange. He has amnesia, and yet he had knowledge of the gigantic. How does that work? What is this selective memory thing? And Santa's always been a cutthroat. Had this sort of cavalier attitude to this. But again, I don't know a motive. Why murder him? So it either has to be murder or it was an accident, a mistake. The weird part is that none of them informed everyone else that they found the parts. That's the real suspicious part. And the fact that they wanted to go into the door ahead of everyone else. What was the point of that? You know? I think I'm going to end it here. I'm coming up on an hour now. I'll try to think of it more. LLR. LLR. I need to search my memory. LLR. You'd think if you were going to write a last message... Well, wait. That was a message in blood, wasn't it? How'd he write it? Presumably he wouldn't have been able to write it after he exploded. Man, there's so much about this I just don't understand. Wow. Well, this was a lot. I feel like I would have been affected more if they actually showed the body, but from the description alone, I could tell that would have been crazy. But yeah. Of course, now we have to worry for Clover again. She was just getting back to normal, and now she's got hit. She's hit with this. Yeah. Hardly knew Snake, but he seemed like a pretty clever, attentive guy. So I feel like it'd be difficult to pull a fast one on him, you know? Man. But yeah, before learning anything else, my early guess or theory is that somehow, for some reason, Santa and Seven might be the ones responsible for his death. Again, might be. I don't think there's enough to say definitively. That's just me trying to work with from the rules that we got. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll find out more next time. Hope you're all doing well, and catch you later.